Welcome along to FM22. The adventure begins. This is Beg, Borrow or Steal, the series where we're going to try and take a club from Spain's fourth tier to the top without spending any money on transfers. We're going to be relying on begging players to come on frees, borrowing them from the big clubs and stealing them when they've reached the end of their contracts. This is going to be quite the adventure. So welcome to Barcelona, slightly warmer climes than we were used to in FM21. This is going to be our home for the foreseeable future, but we're not taking the charge at FC Barcelona, neither will we be taking over at Espanyol. Where would be the Llama-ness in that? We are going to be taking over at Club Esportiu Europa. Let's draw out the battle lines. Granted, Barca and Espanyol are the two big clubs in the city and they share a fierce rivalry, but in the 1920s, it was actually Europa that were the biggest challengers to Barcelona as the two clubs tussled for the Catalonian title. We're based in the neighbourhood of Gracia. You can see that nestled in between the residents, we've got a nice little 4,000 capacity stadium. We're languishing down there in the fourth tier at the moment, but the plan is to try and take Europa through the leagues and meet up with Barcelona one day and challenge them for the Spanish title. It's going to be difficult for us though, because we're going to do it without spending any money on transfers. Trying to reach this kind of level looks like an insurmountable task, but fortunately we've assembled a backroom staff that might just be unrivaled anywhere in Spain. So clearly winning La Liga when you're not spending any money on transfers is going to be difficult. That's why we enlisted the support of the viewers, asking them to volunteer for positions at the club to make use of their football manager expertise, and the number of applicants we had was bewildering. We've appointed to all of the key positions. We've got technical directors, tactical advisors, we've got scouts from all corners of the world, but perhaps more importantly, we've got people in charge of refreshments, staff to work in the club shop, and we've got a brace of feng shui consultants as well. But we must put out a big thank you to the 9 Llamas who have already been away and designed home and away shirts for the 2021-22 season, and mighty dashing they look as well. We'll put links to the 9 Llamas website down in the video description. If you've never visited, you can while away more afternoons than you care to admit to on that website, learning all about the clubs that you could take charge of in Football Manager. But perhaps our biggest appointment yet is our new assistant manager. Scott Thomas followed us loyally throughout Norway in FM21. We brought him in as our assistant manager for FM22. Scott is one of our top patrons, and although we couldn't get him a passport to legally bring him into Spain, him being an Australian, we've given him false documents, and he has taken over as the club's assistant and is already working wonders out on the training ground. So throughout this series, we're going to be using votes in the community tab to get your feedback and input on key decisions for the club. After our introductory episode, we asked you what kind of DNA we should be deploying in our time at Europa. I thought the popular choice would be a Spanish style based on flair, based on vision, based on creativity and passing, but it seems like you want us to bring a more robust, physical, determined, hard-working style to the Spanish lower leagues. Well, we're going to get cracking on that right away. Let's show you the players that we've inherited at the club. So let's not delude ourselves. We've taken on a challenge here. Europa are predicted to finish in 16th place this season, 50-1 shots for the title. But when we have a look at the playing staff, I think we've got a couple of weapons that we can build a tactic around. So let's show you some of our better players, and you can let us know down in the comment section whether you think we've got enough to try and avoid relegation. We'll try and supplement it with some transfers if we can before our first game of the season, but finances are tighter than a badger's back pocket at Europa. We'll have to work some magic to bring anybody in, but I think we've got some decent options starting in goal. This is Sergio at 6'5". He is an aerial presence back there. I like his communication. I like his handling. I like his positioning as well. If we start the season off with Sergio in goal, I will not be disappointed. I think we've got good options in the fullback areas as well. Guti over on the left. It's going to be very quick for this level. The crossing and dribbling are not disastrous. And defensively, the marking, the tackling and the positioning all seem pretty decent, so we're happy with Guti. And then over on the right, we've got another quick player in Sergi Fruit Pastels. We've got acceleration and pace of 14, crossing and dribbling not quite as good as Guti, neither the defensive areas to his game as well. But we've got backup for Sergi Pastels, and that comes in the form of Mr. Loverman, Shava, who again is very, very quick. And at only 20 years old, I think we can develop him a little bit more. Certainly, we can try and get some of these 9s up to double figures. And Mr. Loverman is going to be a good backup for us. We're a little bit more mature in central defence. This is our captain. Some of the physical attributes seem to be on the wane a little bit, but for a 33-year-old, we've still got acceleration of 13, and we've got great marking and positioning. So Alex Chano might just be our captain for the forthcoming season. In order to provide a little bit of legs back there, we've got Arno Company, who is a little bit quicker. Really good tackling, positioning and marking are good. Composure's not great, but might be another good option if we play a back 3, and we'll come to tactics in a moment. We've also got another mature centre-half in Alberto, 35 years old now. And I think has got some pretty decent areas to the game, and the pace of 9 and acceleration of 8 are going to plummet during the season, but I think there's enough there to work with at the start of the campaign. We've got some decent midfielders on the books as well. This is the spoonbender Uri, who has got reasonable passing, decent work rate. Some of the physicals are okay, strength of 4 in the midfield. He's not ideal, but Uri's going to be useful for us as well. We've also got Pau Lopez, 25 years old, good distributor of the ball, decent physicals maybe, box-to-box midfielder, who knows? And then as a slightly more attacking option, we've got Alphonse Serra, who can play in midfield, although with that pace, might be able to play up front for us as well. And in the attacking areas, especially out wide, I think we've got a couple of options. One of them is David Jimenez, who again is very quick, will blow away if the wind is too strong, but the dribbling and the crossing are good. The finishing is not terrible. Maybe as a right footer could go out there on the left as an inside forward, and then maybe on the other side of the pitch, we might be able to work something similar. This is Jordi Chainer, who is pretty quick again, and play over on the right as a left footer. The crossing, the dribbling, the first touch, the off-the-ball movement, all look reasonable to me. I think we can score some goals at this level. And then up front, well, I think Serra might be a good option for us, but so might Javi Solsona, who again, pace and accelerations of 14. The finishing's not great, but the composure is good. The off-the-ball movement is good. So let me know down in the comments, where do you think our big areas are to try and strengthen? And have we got enough about us to avoid relegation this season and maybe push up into mid-table? If we're going to be successful, the tactics going to be key. This is where we're going to show you our next community vote. So we've got 2 tactical plans that we're embedding during pre-season, and you get to decide which one we start the season with by having your vote in a poll in the community tab. Here's option 1. It's a 4-3-3. We're going to utilise defensive midfielder to try and compensate for the fact that our back line are not the quickest in central areas. If we had a halfback in there, it would mean that we could invite our 2 fullbacks to get further forward. And having a 3-man central midfield means that one of them can have a bit more attacking licence. And I'm thinking maybe Alphonse might be the man that appreciates getting a little bit further forward, and then going up top, we're going to have this attacking trio where we've got Jordi with his pace and his dribbling and first touch on the right, and we've got David Jimenez providing a similar role over on the left. That would leave us with a lone front man. I'm thinking Solsona is the man for us because, again, he's very quick, and I think that would give us a nice bit of pace in the side. However, maybe you think there could be a better way of playing. So what do you think of this system? Reverting to 3 at the back, giving us 3 central defenders that can try and cover for each other. The beauty of that, it will allow our two fullbacks to really utilise their pace and their delivery. So we'd have Fruity Pastels going down the right-hand side, and Guti, I think, could be a real outlet for us over on the left. The trade-off would be that would only give us 2 men in central midfield, so they'd have to be a little bit more conservative, but it would allow us to still have that pacey, threatening front three, trying to get on the end of the delivery from our wing back. So there are our 2 different options. We've got a 4-3-3 utilising a DM, and we've also got a 5-2-3, but both of these systems trying to make use of what I think are our big attacking weapons, and also trying to inject as much pace as possible into the team. So head over to the communities tab, take part in the poll, tell us which system you think we should start the season with. We've got to go away and play pre-season. We're also going to try do a little bit of work in the transfer market if we can. By the time you see us for Friday's episode, we'll be lining up ready for our first game of the season as we try to beg, borrow and steal our way to La Liga.